Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here. So glad to be with you this Friday afternoon. Let's see, it's about 3:20 where I am. I'm on Eastern time, and so it's good to see all of you. I can't see you, but you can see me, so it's good to be together. This is our weekly message. We just did our monthly predictions, and I'm separating the weekly messages from the monthly predictions. And I did find this time for the monthly predictions, there were some questions from viewers, and they really were not of the esoteric nature that we seem to be addressing in our weekly sessions. So they were more about politics and such. So I answered those. What's going to happen in this upcoming election? I answered those in the monthly. So that's up and available for you as well. Well, hello, mermaid. You're asking if I think you'll find your cat, and I'm sorry, that's not what this weekly message is about. But please do go to my, I have a video out there, how to find a meditation for finding a lost animal or a lost pet, and it also works for objects as well. Or if you want a private message, the information of how to get a hold of me is below. Just go to my website, www.dianarankin.com. And thank you for using the meditation. And again, I respond. I kind of keep everything a little separate here. This is for the universal messages that people have asked about. And our message, or excuse me, our information today is about exploring past lives. And does that work safely? Can we do it safely? Why do we do it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we're going to look at today. And I have several different videos out there. It's not only the weekly videos or the monthly videos, and you're always welcome to use any of those meditations. I get a lot of information about the meditation for lost pets, and please read the stories of others who have used it and found their pets. So let us move on. It is the 45th week of the year 2020. This is for November 1st through the 7th. Already we're in November, which is really scary. And, you know, next week, you'll hear me say, I'm going to have a birthday this week. It's on the 11th of November. I'm going to read you what Phillip said, answer to the question we have about past lives. And then we'll get a message from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip. And we'll get that message as soon as I read you what Phillip has to say. Again, if you have questions that we can ask Phillip, universal questions, and they tend to be more esoteric on our weekly messages. And then our monthly messages are specifically for predictions. And we did have some questions this time, which I went ahead and answered. And then other meditations, such as the meditation to help find a lost pet, or meditations just to help you stay calm during this time, please go to my channel, and all of those are out there for you. So here we go. This is our question actually it's two questions, but this is our question for this week. Is it advisable for humans to attempt to revisit what we call our past lives? And what is the best way to go about this? Excuse me. That is an interesting question. And I think the person who wrote this question, they understand what Phillip's about to say here first. Past lives, as well as future lives, are taking place in other dimensions as you're living and experiencing this life. We have discussed this before, so we'll not do so here, other than to say, outside of this dimensional time, outside of this dimension, time as you know it does not exist. Everything is happening in the now. This is a difficult concept for the human mind to comprehend, even for those who have had the experience of recognizing multiple lives at the same time. I want to stop there for a moment and tell you a couple of my experiences, so that will make a little more sense for you, because it even though I've had the experience of experiencing multiple lives and multiple dimensions within like a 30-second or a 60-second period, it's not easy for me to be able to understand that. But one time I was sitting in my office, not this one, but a different office. And while sitting there, I was playing some old Celtic music, or playing some Celtic music, which I love. Not that it was necessarily old. And I was editing a manuscript. It was a company that we did textbook work, and I was an editor in textbooks, and I've been a university adjunct professor and all kinds of things I've done. But I've always been a writer and a teacher of some sort. But I was editing work. And when we write or when we edit, we do tend to kind of get into the zone. And so I was in the zone, so to speak. And that's when it's easy to move into these other dimensions, when we're in the zone. And while I was sitting there, suddenly I kind of like blinked. And as my eyes opened after the blink, instead of being in my office, I was at Newgrange, which is in Ireland. Now you're going to hear a Celtic voice come through here, because that just kind of happens when I start talking about Ireland or the Celtic times. And I was in a ritual, and I was not the druid, but I was a female in that, and it was a ritual that druid priest and priestesses were performing around me and on me. And so that was one time I experienced going into another life, just one. And then at another period, I was visiting my ex-husband, and I was coming out of the bathroom. He was in the kitchen over here, and I'm walking out of the bathroom into the living room where two of my Sheltie dogs were sitting. And as I passed him in the kitchen, and just in that momentary moment before I reached my dogs, I envisioned boom, 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 boom. But even in each of those multiple lives that I had experienced with my ex, but even in that very quick boom, 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 I understood each life entirely. And intellectually, I cannot explain this. So when Phillip says that it is hard for us to recognize from the human mind, please don't beat up on yourself if you say, I don't get it, because I've experienced it and I still don't get it. So let me go on then with what Phillip says. Whether we say past lives or other lives, we are speaking of lives you are living, but unaware of while living this current life. Should you revisit these other lives? It depends. If you are trying to escape this life, or if you are playing a game, no. If just for curiosity, no. If you are trying to heal a pattern, look first to your current life, to your childhood, to those who influence you, to your thought patterns. If the answers aren't found, then explore other lives by asking to be shown the pattern and what you are to do to heal and change it. You might, by the way, hear Lily, one of my cats. She's a Siamese cat, and she's playing with one of her toys. And when she plays with this particular toy, she's very vocal about it. So you might hear her talking to her toy. The information may come in a dream or insight. Healing old patterns from other lives is usually a deep and maybe a difficult process. You may ask for help and guidance from the yous in other lives as well. This simply requires asking. It is as though you are saying a prayer or asking an angel or a guide for help. The answer may come as a visitation, in a dream, or simply as an insight. Again, I'm going to interject here. A few weeks ago, we talked about, I forget exactly what we called them, but they were beings who, they're like angels in body. They kind of appear to us, but they're not necessarily people who were born into this life or will experience death. They just kind of appear when we need them. So you might go back and I'm not sure what week it is, but you can read the information below and that'll tell you. Okay, so let's go on. Phillip goes on to say, there are those who wish to explore past lives for more mundane reasons. Remember, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So we live in both spirit and we live in our mundane lives. This often comes when romance blooms and one partner questions why there is such a strong attraction. This partner is looking for validation to assume the other that they belong together. There is a problem here. It is twofold. The information may be shared, but only if not used for manipulation. Secondly, the one doing the search only wants validation of love. However, when soulmates come together, it is often because of unresolved issues that must be dealt with. This is not to say there is not romantic love between the couple, but that the whole picture is to be looked at, not just what is deemed romantic love. I've often said the chemistry that we have together is really chemistry coming from our wounds. Not always, but often it's coming from those wounds that we need to heal. And we might not get together if it weren't for the chemistry. So look at the whole picture. And then we ask, how can you explore past lives safely? Phillip says, this is the second part of the question that we will answer now. And he's already told us some answers, but this is more. If there is a reason, as we have discussed, the process is quite natural if done with sincere motives to help oneself grow. If it is to satisfy curiosity or as a game, precautions must be taken. In these cases, it is of great importance to work with someone who is knowledgeable, trustworthy, and able to guide properly. Delving into other dimensions can be dangerous to the person's mental health in this dimension if looking at this as a game. It's not a game. When working with a human guide, they may provide information of aid to you. This information can then be looked at and discussed. In other cases, a trained therapist may guide you into a trance that then allows you to explore lives in other dimensions. With this method, there is the possibility of lingering emotions that may be helpful or harmful. The motives of the individual and the ability of the therapist will determine the outcome. We suggest the person always work to first grow and develop their connection with their spiritual nature before undertaking any journeys to other dimensions. This way, the explorations will come naturally and without harm. I'm going to repeat that because I think it's important, that last paragraph. We suggest the person always work to first grow and develop their connection with their spiritual nature before undertaking any journeys to other dimensions. This way, the explorations will come naturally and without harm. So, my friends, I hope that answers your question. We're going to get our message now. Hello, Annika. Hi, everyone, and a happy Halloween weekend. Yes, this is Halloween weekend, and it's also full moon weekend. So it's going to be a very powerful weekend, isn't it? So be safe, have fun, wear your mask, and not just the Halloween mask, but the mask for keeping you safe from the virus. Okay, thank you all for coming. Thank you for those of you who have come online. Thank you for those of you who make comments online and in the comment section after this is published. I'm always so glad to see you. You perk me up, pep me up. You keep me going in doing this because it's not necessarily a natural thing for me to do. It's much easier actually to stand in front of an audience of 25 or 25. 250. That's easier than doing this for me. Who knows why? Anyway, we're going to get our message now. And for those of you who don't know, this is just an oracle book. So we just, each page has a different wisdom on it. So we just kind of flip through And wherever the finger lands, or we just open it at random, and that's when we get our message. And so we've just opened it here, and I'm hearing right. And if you heard right, then that is the page for you. But I'm also getting left as important. So if you heard right, you're just hearing my intuition. We're on track together. If you heard left, that's a special message for you. But I'm going to read both because I just looked at the left page and I think that is a very important page, and I'll explain why. But the right page is life is for living. Oh, my friends. And now I'm going to read the left because I think they go together with what we're experiencing in the world today. The way of war is not the way of peace. So life is for living, and the way of war is not the way of peace. And let me tell you what both of those mean. Right now in the US, which is affecting the whole world, we are coming upon an election, and it's a crazy, crazy election. Yes, the next few weeks are full of tension, but I want to say whether it's the far right or the far left, there's way too much anger. There's way too much rage. There's too much fear going on. So we have to come toward the middle with our own feelings. Remember, we're spiritual beings, and the way of war is not the way of peace. So by creating anger and war on either side, we're not creating the peace that we all long for. And keep in mind, life is for living. It's not for raging. It's for living. And history tells us, in the end, love always wins. It is much more powerful than hate. Love is more powerful than anger. Love is more powerful than rage. And what we just talked about today is we are multidimensional. We are so much more than this one life we're living. But this life we must live to its fullest in order to get the most out of it. I love you all, my friends, and I'm so glad you've all come, and I thank you all for being here. I do wish you all a happy Halloween, a safe Halloween, and a healthy Halloween. And on the full moon, maybe we'll just all go out and put on our best wolf howls and howl at that full moon. It's going to be a really powerful, powerful weekend with the full moon and Halloween. Use that time to go deeper within yourself and help yourself create that which you truly want for your life, not that which you might be experiencing now. And create it out of love, create it out of the power of the universe, because you have that within you. Thank you, my friends, for being with me today. Thank you for the love and that you send to us. Thank you for telling your friends about this. And Mermaid, we certainly will say a prayer to bring your little one home to you, but definitely keep doing the meditation and read the ones that inspire you, the comments, because a lot of people have brought their loved ones home. So I thank you for being with me. I thank you for loving me. And I thank you for accepting this love that I send out to you. Until next week, my friends, thank you. I love you.